And now I owe somebody a review of BBIG. Okay, so BBIG. First thing that I see is that we have a tweezer bottom on the 1 hour, very bullish. That shows a floor of support, and it coincides with this dragonfly, this bullish dragonfly doji. This actually is a double bottom pattern right here. We see that we have these candles entering into this zone. If we get a close outside of this zone to the upside, then that confirms a double bottom. So what we would like to see is for this green candle to come back, close a body, and engulf this red candle before it. That would actually be two bullish patterns together. That would be a three-line strike because we have these, you see these three red candles back to back to back. If we get a green engulfing candle that takes out this red candle, that would be very bullish, and that would close our 1 hour candle on a big up move at the end of the day. It really does need to come with bigger volume than this. This volume is too small. It's actually declining, which we don't like to see. So we need to see big volume come in, and for this big volume candle, or for this volume candle to close up above all three of these red ones. That would be the best scenario for BBIG. I know that this is getting smashed because Susquehanna doesn't want to pay out all of those call contracts that they sold at market. So they're trying to keep BBIG below $1. What we need to see is for BBIG to close well above $1. What we want to see is for BBIG to close like way up here above 102. Uh-oh. The real Tony Smith is coming in with some interesting TikTok news for us. So this is a little bit unexpected, maybe a bit surprising. Get out of here, Forbes. TikTok parent ByteDance plan to use TikTok to monitor the physical location of specific American citizens. Uh-oh. This is big for BBIG. The project assigned to a Beijing-led team would have involved accessing location data from some U.S. users' devices without their knowledge or consent. A China-based team at TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, planned to use the TikTok app to monitor the personal location for some specific American citizens, according to the materials reviewed by Forbes. The team behind the monitoring project, ByteDance's internal audit and risk control department, is led by Beijing-based executive Song Yi, who reports to ByteDance co-founder and CEO Rubo Liang. The team primarily conducts investigations into potential misconduct by current and former ByteDance employees, but in at least 2 cases, the internal audit team also planned to collect TikTok data about the location of a U.S. citizen who had never had an employment relationship with the company, the materials show. It is unclear from the materials whether the data about these Americans was actually collected. However, the plan was for a Beijing-based ByteDance team to obtain location data from U.S. users' devices. TikTok spokesperson Maureen Shanahan said that TikTok collects approximate location information based on users' IP addresses to, among other things, help show relevant content and ads to users, comply with applicable laws, and detect and prevent fraud and inauthentic behavior. But the material reviewed by Forbes indicates that ByteDance's internal audit team was planning to use this location information to surveil individual American citizens, not to target ads or any of these other purposes. Forbes is not disclosing the nature and purpose of the planned surveillance referenced in the materials in order to protect sources. TikTok and ByteDance did not answer questions about whether internal audit has specifically targeted any members of the U.S. government, activists, public figures, or journalists. TikTok is reportedly close to signing a contract with the Treasury Department's Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, or CFIUS. This evaluates the national security risks posed by companies of foreign ownership and has been investigating whether the company's Chinese ownership could enable the Chinese government to access personal information about U.S. TikTok users. Disclosure: in a past life, I held policy positions at Facebook and Spotify. In September, President Biden signed an executive order enumerating specific risks that CFIUS should consider when assessing companies of foreign ownership. The order, which states that it intends to, quote, emphasize the risks presented by foreign adversaries, unquote, access to data of U.S. persons. focuses specifically on foreign companies' potential use of data, quote, for the surveillance, tracing, tracking, and targeting of individuals or groups of individuals with potential adverse impacts on national security, unquote. The Treasury Department did not respond to a request for comment. The Internal Audit and Risk Control Team runs regular audits and investigations of TikTok and ByteDance employees for infractions like conflicts of interest and misuse of company resources, and also for leaks of confidential information. Individual materials, internal materials reviewed by Forbes show that senior executives, including TikTok CEO Shou Chu, have ordered the team to investigate individual employees, and that it has investigated employees even after they left the company. The internal audit team uses a data request system known to employees as the Green Channel. Doesn't that sound like a little bit extra sinister? That kind of sounds like Soylent Green or something. According to documents and records from LARC, ByteDance's internal office management software, these documents and records show that Green Channel requests for information about U.S. employees have pulled that data from mainland China. Like most companies our size, we have an internal audit function responsible for objectively auditing and evaluating the company and our employees' adherence to our codes of conduct, said ByteDance spokesperson Jennifer Banks in a statement. Quote, "This team provides its recommendations to the leadership team," unquote. ByteDance is not the first tech giant to have considered using an app to monitor specific U.S. users. In 2017, the New York Times reported that Uber had identified various local politicians and regulators that served them a separate, misleading version of the Uber app to avoid regulatory penalties. At the time, Uber acknowledged that it had run a program called, quote, Grayball, but said it was used to deny requests to, quote, opponents who collude with officials on secret stings meant to entrap drivers, unquote, among other groups. TikTok did not respond to questions about whether it has ever served different content or experiences to government officials, regulators, activists, or journalists than the general public in the TikTok app. Both Uber and Facebook also reportedly tracked the location of journalists reporting on their apps. A 2015 investigation by the Electronic Privacy Information Center found that Uber had monitored the location of journalists covering the company. Uber did not specifically respond to this claim. In 2021, book An Ugly Truth alleges that Facebook did the same thing in an effort to identify journalist sources. Facebook did not respond directly to the assertions in the book, but a spokesperson told the San Jose Mercury News in 2018 that, like other companies, Facebook, quote, routinely uses businesses' records in workplace investigations, unquote. But an important factor distinguishes ByteDance's planned collection of private users' information from those cases. TikTok recently told lawmakers that access to certain user data, likely including location, will be, quote, limited only to authorized personnel pursuant to protocols being developed with the U.S. government, unquote. TikTok and ByteDance did not answer questions about whether internal audit executives Song Yi or other members of the department are authorized personnel for the purposes of these protocols. These promises are part of Project Texas, TikTok's massive effort to rebuild its internal systems so that China-based employees will not be able to access a swath of, quote, protected identifying user data about U.S. TikTok users, including their phone numbers, birthdays, and draft videos. This effort is central to the company's national security negotiations with CFIUS. At a Senate hearing in September, TikTok Chief Operating Officer Vanessa Pappas said that the forthcoming CFIUS contract would, quote, satisfy all national security concerns, unquote, about the app. Still, some senators appeared skeptical. In July, the Senate Intelligence Committee began an investigation into whether TikTok misled lawmakers by withholding information about China-based employees' access to U.S. data earlier this year. Following a June report in BuzzFeed News showing that user data had been reportedly accessed by ByteDance's employees in China. In a statement about TikTok's data access controls, TikTok spokesperson Shanahan said that the company uses tools like encryption and, quote, security monitoring to keep data secure. This is totally meaningless, by the way. Access to approval is overseen by U.S. personnel, and that employees are granted access to U.S. data on an as-needed basis. This is meaningless. Like, that means absolutely nothing. The fact that the data is encrypted does not protect them from somebody with, like, domain administrative credentials and privileges If somebody is, if somebody is in control on the China team that has superior access to any of the other administrators on the US-based team, it doesn't matter. They can give that access to anyone they want, and there's literally thousands of ways that you can hide those privileges in a way that makes it basically undetectable unless you have a literal forensics investigation team dedicated to discovering this. So this whole idea that they're going to be able to separate privileges and keep only U.S. employees or U.S. customers' data accessible to only U.S.-based employees is total bullshit. There's no way that they can guarantee that. I can promise you that is it's possible to be done, but there is no way with the audit controls that the Chinese government would enforce on ByteDance that they would not be able to get access to that data at any point that they wanted to. There are always ways. If I can figure out a way to get to the top of an organization's privilege structure in their Active Directory domain, then their own administrators can figure out ways to do it. And worse, you can bet that the Chinese Secret Service will be able to do it as well. So there's no, I just don't accept this. Like, encryption is a freaking buzzword here. It has no guarantees of protection. It's unclear what role ByteDance's internal audit team will play in TikTok's efforts to limit China-based employees' access to user data, especially given the team's plans to monitor some American citizens' locations using the TikTok app. But a fraud risk assessment written by a member of the team in late 2021 highlighted data storage concerns, saying that according to employees responsible for the company's data, quote, "It is impossible to keep data that should not be stored in China from being retained in China-based servers, even after ByteDance stands up a primary storage center in Singapore. LARC data is saved in China," unquote. That's exactly my point. The data, once moved, can't be taken back. There's no guarantee that you can ever recall that. Oh, did I see Snap is down? Aw, that's a bummer. That's a huge bummer. All right. Well, we'll get back to that in a little while. Go ahead and finish this article. Excuse me. How much longer is this article? We're almost at the end. Moreover, a leaked audio conversation from January 2022 shows that the Beijing-based team was, at that point, gathering additional information on Project Texas. In the call, a member of TikTok's U.S. Trust and Safety team recounted an unusual conversation to his manager. The employee had been asked by Chris Lepetak, TikTok's chief internal auditor, to meet in an LA area restaurant off hours. Lepetak, who reports to Beijing-based Song Yi, then asked the employee detailed questions about the location and details of the Oracle server that is central to TikTok's plans to limit foreign access to personal U.S. user data. The employee told his manager that he was, quote, freaked out by the exchange. TikTok and ByteDance did not respond to questions about this conversation. Oracle spokesperson Ken Gluick said that while TikTok does not currently use Oracle's cloud services, quote, "we have absolutely no insight one way or the other," unquote, into who can access TikTok user data. Quote, "Today, TikTok is running in the Oracle cloud, but just like the Bank of America, General Motors, and a million other customers, they retain full control of everything they're doing," unquote. This is true. Oracle does not control the keys of their customers. They have structured themselves specifically this way, and I'm aware of this because I have worked with Oracle's team. I have done business with Oracle's team. I know how their cloud structure works, and this is totally transparent, by the way. Like, I'm not giving up any proprietary information. They're very open about this. Oracle makes sure that it is well known that all of their customers' data is maintained by their customers' keys. They have access to the data, and only they have control of how the data is protected. And that is good for Oracle because it protects them in terms of like plausible deniability, but also the liability is not on them if something happens and the keys are lost. Oracle is not responsible for that. They simply provide the infrastructure and the storage. TikTok is in charge of how that's secured and maintained. This corroborates a January statement made by TikTok's head of data defense in another leaked audio call. In that call, the executive said to a colleague, quote, "It's almost incorrect to call it Oracle Cloud because they're just giving us bare metal and we're building our virtual machines on top of it." Yeah, this is literally exactly what I said. Gluick made clear that this would change if and when TikTok finalizes its contract with the federal government. Quote, "But unless and until that's the case," he said, "Oracle is not providing anything other than our own security for TikTok." TikTok did not answer questions from Forbes about the status of the company's negotiations with CFIUS, but in a statement to Bloomberg published earlier this morning, TikTok spokesperson Brooke Obervetter said, quote, "We are confident that we are on a path to fully satisfy all reasonable U.S. national security concerns." Sure you are. I just trust me, bro. We'll meet the national security standards. That's totally fine. Their app is malware. TikTok is malware. I'm just saying it. Okay, it's malware, and they're trying to hold on to any excuse that they can. Oh wow, that's so they're so funny. They're so funny. Okay, well, let me go and get that. Let me go and get that AK filing so that we can look at that. We'll go cover the BBIG AK. Because I'm seeing people like throw the D word out there now, so we gotta really look at this. So Vinco Ventures AK form. Let's go and take a look at what this is all about. Okay, item 5.03, amendment to Articles of Incorporation. Okay, October 14th, they filed an amendment to its Articles of Incorporation to reallocate its previously authorized 250 million shares of stock as 245 million shares of common stock and 5 million of preferred stock, which preferred stock may be issued upon the subsequent filing with the Nevada Secretary of State of one or more certificates of designation for series of preferred stock. So this is not dilution, this is reallocation of shares. So they're restructuring the shares that they already have. There were 250 million of common stock. Now they're switching that to be 245 million of common stock and 5 million of preferred stock. So the preferred stock, I'm assuming, is going to be used for a separate purpose. Maybe it will be given out as a special dividend to stockholders of their larger investors. I don't know. There's no way to know until they actually declare the use for this. But so far, no dilution. Like, this isn't dilution. They're just restructuring the shares. While this was initially submitted on October 13th, Nevada Secretary of State filing system was not processing on both the upper. Okay. Not really that important. They're restructuring shares, I assume for a later purpose, which we will find out in the future. If I was to guess anything, this is probably going to end up being issued to insiders as a bonus incentive program.
At the time of the merger, right?
Yeah. Once the merger occurs, I would assume that there's going to be an issuance of stock to insiders to incentivize directors for their investment in the company. Cool. Okay, so this is definitely nothing to be worried about. If anything, this is evidence of the merger going forward, because this restructuring ahead of issuance of stock is occurring very, very near to a merger discussion. This is probably setting them up for issuance of bonus shares to their insiders. Certificate of Amendment to Articles of Incorporation before issuance of stock. The undersigned declare that they constitute at least 2/3 of the following board of directors. Okay. Authorized shares have been amended. Rod Vanderbilt is signing director on this amendment. That's it. Nothing crazy. I would treat this as evidence of the merger going forward, especially with, oh, you know what? I know what this is going to be for. They're going to be issuing those this is what I bet is going to happen. They're going to issue that 5 million in preferred stock, and they're going to hand it over to Ross Miller because he's the new CEO. This is probably part of the bonus incentive program. That's who they're going to give it to. They're going to give it to Ross Miller. So he's going to get shares in order to incentivize his tenure at the company. That's what I bet this is for. Yeah, definitely nothing to be worried about. They already had these shares available. They were they were already a part of the company's treasury. If anything, this is something that they'll be. This would probably be able to be issued in the future, like as part of warrant issuance or something. Like they did have warrants at one time with Hudson Bay, and then they had to go buy those back because of the default that happened. Okay. That's going to be it for me. I'll do some separate coverage later on this week and over the weekend to cover individual tickers. We'll probably cover other big, large cap stocks like Apple, Meta, and so on as we get closer to their earnings. But for right now, this is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. Really appreciate having you here. If this is your first time here and you really enjoy the stream, don't forget to leave a like on your way out. It really helps the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel so that we can feed you more information and provide more teaching materials to everybody so that we can all learn how to benefit from this market together. And if you're not a member of the trading floor, consider joining. We've got a great community full of really great traders and excellent teachers that are willing to show you the ropes and get you familiar with how to trade the right way and start making the market work for you. You can join us at hellstradingfloor.com. Sign up for our Discord at discord.gg/hellstradingfloor. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. But until then, have a hell of a time in the markets.